Pinchy.
Stop praying for Pinchy. Pinchy not need a prayer. Pinchy wife says she just done cook some brown stew fish for him, and the only thing wrong with him, a bone stuck in him throat, and him wash it down with a lemonade. Him even eat dumpling today.
Think before you broadcast.
A reminder from the Broadcasting Commission.
Make it a new day, yeah.
Welcome to PBCJ's live coverage of the Lower House. I am Simone Absalom Gale. The session will start with prayers followed by a roll call of those in attendance. This is usually followed by questions and answers to questions, statements by ministers, items under public business, and private members' motions. Before we begin though, let's try a parliamentary trivia question. Gordon House became the official meeting place of the Jamaican government in 1962. Is this true or false? Keep watching and you'll get the answer at the end of this introduction to the Lower House. On the agenda in this session, under public business, the sectoral debate continues with Minister of Culture, Gender, Entertainment and Sport, Olivia Grange, set to make her contribution. During the annual sectoral debate, members from both sides of the aisle can present proposals seeking the approval of the House for government's proposed programs and projects within the different sectors. They also have a chance to provide updates on various areas within their portfolios. This is certainly a busy year for the Ministry of Culture, Gender, Entertainment and Sport. Its teams have successfully coordinated activities for Workers' Week and Labor Day 2022, and activities for the first ever Africa Day, just to name a few. Several activities have been held both locally and abroad in celebration of Jamaica's 60th year of independence, with more to come. Time is allotted for 2 sittings per week for the sectoral debate over a 6-week period, following the close of the budget debate conducted at the start of the new fiscal year in April. According to the standing orders, no member is allowed to address the House or a committee of the whole House for more than 30 minutes on any subject. The House may at any time move a motion to extend the speaker's time sufficient for them to complete the presentation if the individual fails to complete within the stated time. It should be noted that the agenda can be adjusted, with items being added, removed, or replaced. If you're planning to attend a session at Gordon House, here are some rules to keep in mind. No visitor shall create any act of disorder within the precincts of the House. No visitor shall be admitted to the House without first obtaining an admission card from the office of the clerk. Visitors who remain within the precincts of the House during a suspension of the session are asked to keep silent. It's almost time to go to the main event, but before that, let's get the answer to the trivia question we asked. Gordon House became the official meeting place of the Jamaican government in 1962. Is this true or false? It's false. According to the National Heritage Trust's website, on Wednesday, October 26, 1960, Gordon House became the official meeting place of the Jamaican government, replacing the Headquarters House, which was a meeting place of the government since 1872. The building was named in honor of national hero, the Right Excellent George William Gordon, who supported freedom and justice for all classes in the society. This helped to pave the way for much of the advances in self-government and democracy in Jamaica in the 20th century. Before we go, here are a few more interesting things about the Ministry of Culture, Gender, Entertainment and Sport. It's responsible for a number of agencies and departments, including the Bureau of Gender Affairs, Cinematograph Authority Entertainment Board, the Institute of Jamaica, and all the national museums, galleries, and libraries. Independence Park Limited, Institute of Sports, Jamaica Anti-Doping Commission, the Jamaica Cultural Development Commission, Jamaica National Commission for UNESCO, Jamaica National Heritage Trust, National Commission on Reparations, and the Sports Development Foundation. The ministry's focus is wide. It includes arts and culture, cultural and creative industries, entertainment, gender affairs, heritage, publications like legal deposits, national commemorative events like labor, emancipation, independence, National Heroes Days, reparations, and sport. Now over to the proceedings.
What a way you're full of our roots and culture. That was in Jamaica 60. Jamaica 60? What a piece of news, Miss Matty. I feel like my heart going bust up.
Just in, the island of Jamaica is on the verge of celebrating its 60th year of independence.
I only way of celebrating it. They say the people them in them come here, you know. But you see, when our people decide, say the other people them free paper burn up. Them say if it's war, start it, whatever. We all collect medal pants for it, you know.
Medal.
Amount of tongue we give them, you know.
The celebrations are slated to begin on January 1st, 2022. Organized by the Ministry of Culture, Gender, Entertainment and Sport. We have more in this report.
I am on site and planning activities are ablaze. Persons are advised to download the Reggae Jamaica app to know what it activities for the Jamaica 60 celebration.
But if I don't know the app to get the updates then.
What if they knew that you abused her? Her family?
Mr. Jones.
And your colleagues, how will they look at an abuser? When the law comes knocking, you'll have nowhere to run.
Mr. Brown, you're under arrest. Please get up, hands behind your head and interlock your fingers.
Turn your back on abusers. Report gender-based violence to the police. There's no excuse for abuse. Call the Bureau of Gender Affairs at 876-754-8577.
Brutality isn't a legality. There's no rationality as to why this abnormality should become a mentality. A mentality which kills and torture. Are you really telling me you're afraid to speak up because you might be called an informer? Let us break the barrier of brutality and enforce it with alacrity. If you know someone who has been victimized, I charge you to I, interrupt their situations before their O. Oppressor continues to L, lurk in their lives. Let us E, extend our hands to our brothers and sisters who are being victimized, and N, never see violent acts and ignore them. Let us C, come together and be the E, example, so we may end a barrier on brutality.
The safety, honor, and happiness of the Queen, the public weal, peace and tranquility of the island, and the uniting and knitting together of the hearts of all persons and estates within the same, in true Christian love and charity, one towards another, through Jesus Christ our Lord. Amen.
This Honourable House now resumes its sitting. Call of the roll.
Mrs. Holness, Mr. Bartlett, Mr. Holness, Mr. Clark, Dr. Chang, Mr. Shaw, Mr. Samuda, Ms. Grange, Mrs. Williams, Mrs. Malawu Fort, Dr. Tufton, Mr. McKenzie, Mr. Chuck, Mr. Vaz, Mr. Warmington, Mr. Charles, Mr. Green, Mr. Morgan, Mr. Hutchinson, Mr. Terry Long, Ms. Smith, Dr. Dunn, Mrs. Cuthbert Flynn, Mr. Main, Mr. Davis, Mr. Davis, Mr. Witter, Mr. Brown, Dr. Brownberg, Dr. Charles, Mr. Chin, Mr. Clark, Mr. Cousins, Ms. Crawford, Ms. Daly, Ms. Davis, Mr. Golding, Mr. Graham, Dr. Guy, Ms. Hamilton, Ms. Hannah, Mr. Henriquez, Mr. Henry, Mr. Hilton, Mr. Jackson, Mr. Lawrence, Ms. Lee, Mr. Miller, Mr. Montague, Ms. Morrison, Mrs. Nita Garvey, Mr. Paulwell, Mr. Phillips, Dr. Phillips, Mr. Robertson, Mr. Robinson, Mr. Siblist, Mr. Brown, Mr. Slowly, Mrs. Vaz, Dr. Wheatley, Miss Davis, Mr. Williams, Mr. Wilson, Mr. Wright.
Members, as usual, it is a pleasure to welcome all of us here and those joining us online by YouTube on PBC TV and persons who might join us in the gallery, to welcome you all to the continuation of the sectoral debate where the Minister of Culture, Gender, Entertainment and Sports, the Honourable Olivia Grange, will be making her presentation to this House. But before I invite the House Leader to speak, I want to say this afternoon and to place on record that as much as we talk about showing to the public or the type of behavior that we have as parliamentarians, we have privileges as parliamentarians, we have responsibilities as parliamentarians. We have students watching us, we are teaching them. There are books that are out now on civics, punctuality, respect for the office that we hold is very important. It is disrespectful to the children who are online, who their teachers have put to watch. We are teaching them the wrong lesson when if you amble in during the roll call, it is wrong. We cannot start Parliament without a quorum. It is wrong. We have to remember that one of our primary, this is where we do the nation's business. This is where we are elected to come. And we have all the time in the world to do other things. And I do believe that it is incumbent on us as members of Parliament to be here before 2 o'clock. So at 2 o'clock, the Parliament can proceed. And we can get through the business of the nation that way. And we can, if we have any respect or regard for members of staff who support us in this Parliament after we drive out in our cars, that if the Parliament's business is achieved within good time and record, they too can reach their homes in the evening. And I'm therefore saying that it is irresponsible of us to find everything else to do and think it's okay to amble in, even if it is in the roll call, because I cannot start Parliament without a quorum. And I'm therefore asking, and very often I'm talking to the converted, to the choir who is almost here. So I'm asking, and it is really serious, and I feel I am upset about it, because those of us who are here, I'm asking you to speak to the other choir members and tell them it is irresponsible. It is not good. And we are portraying who we are to the nation. And this is where we do this is where we are paid, this is where we are elected to do the nation's business. And therefore I feel we should be here so that we can start Parliament on time. And also, when you have members of this Parliament addressing this Parliament, and when you have senior members of Parliament, like the member who is speaking here this afternoon, we should want, it affects all our constituencies. It's disrespectful. It is taking too much for granted. So I'm asking us, please, to remember to speak to our colleagues, and we should be here so that we can start the Parliament on time at 2 o'clock. House Leader.
Madam Speaker, we share the sentiments that you have expressed, and I will take some steps after this sectoral debate is over in that regard, because I think that we have, Madam Speaker, started a great tradition of ensuring that discipline and that reflection of regard and respect for this great institution called the Parliament of our land. And that, in fairness, we have been, in the main, on target in terms of carrying through this process. And I take a lot of pride in ensuring that this Parliament does start on time. And we want to make sure that that process that helped to change the way people view what happens in this Honourable House is pursued, Madam Speaker. So we take very well your admonition this afternoon, and we'll be guided accordingly. Madam Speaker, as we did yesterday, I will move for the suspension of the standing orders to allow for the items on the agenda after, well, we've had roll call, haven't we? Yes, we did, yes. Madam Speaker, your admonition went deep. So I beg to move that the items normally taken, Madam Speaker, before public business be suspended and taken after public business so as to allow for the continuation of the sectoral debate and the Speaker is intended to be the member from St. Catherine Central and Minister of Culture, Gender, Entertainment and Sports. May it please you, Madam Speaker.
Madam Speaker, just before you acknowledge the Speaker, I just wish to acknowledge the dissatisfaction that you've expressed here today at the tardiness at the beginning of the quorum, lack of a quorum at the beginning of the sitting, and to join with the House Leader in saying to you that we will both work with our respective members to ensure that we see a marked improvement going forward. We appreciate the sentiments. We believe you're correct in your observations, and I believe it does less than the credit that is due to the Parliament when we fail to have the quorum that delays the start of Parliament. So you have our full cooperation.
Thank you very much. I now invite members. You have heard the House Leader and his request for us to approve the suspension of the agenda until and go straight to public business, where we will invite the member from St. Catherine Central, the Honourable Olivia Grange, to make her presentation to the Parliament. Those in favour? Those against? The ayes have it. I now invite.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Thank you, Madam Speaker, and I want to thank my colleagues who thought it was important to be here on time, and for those who came in a couple minutes late, but the fact that they're here, I want to express my appreciation to them. Thank you so much. Madam Speaker, today I'm filled with hope and enthusiasm as I make this contribution to the sectoral debate. Surely it has been another difficult year for all of us, but especially for the people and sectors that I champion as the Minister of Culture, Gender, Entertainment and Sport. Our sectors have been the most severely affected by the pandemic and the measures that we have had to implement to manage COVID. And I just want to say COVID is still with us. Yes. And that I don't want anyone to think that we're over it. We have to learn to live with COVID, but COVID dance still a keep. The pandemic threatened to extinguish whole sectors, and some entertainment, cultural and creative businesses, some of them sadly went under. Others, through great resilience, and in some cases, assistance from the government, have managed to keep the embers alive, and some are beginning to blaze again. In 2020, my priority was to regroup and re-engineer towards reopening our sectors. Last year, we focused on strategic legislation, policy and programs towards a better and stronger recovery. This year, I have one word rallying cry, reignite. I give thanks for the leadership of our Prime Minister, the Most Honourable Andrew Holness, who has encouraged me to rekindle the flames of resilience, creativity and pride of the Jamaican people, and who continue to be an inspiration to the entire team, the Cabinet and the members of Parliament, who give full support to the Prime Minister's leadership. To my colleagues in Cabinet, I say maximum respect for the part you play in maintaining the heat and keeping the work and the fire burning and ensuring that we deliver as promised to the people. I also express my deepest gratitude to my Minister of State, the young Honorable Orlando Terrelong, and to say that he is the future. And I will ensure that I hold his hand and I guide him as being one of the bright stars of the Jamaica Labour Party and the government. I also want to acknowledge the support of my permanent secretary and staff of my ministry, the boards of management and advisory boards, the executive directors and staff of agencies and departments within my portfolio, and to say to them, thank you for your patience. Thank you for your determination to not let the flame die as we face the various challenges brought on by the pandemic. It has been well said that loyalty and commitment are tested during dilemmas and pitfalls. I say thanks to my hardworking councillors and constituents also who have proven their stewardship as the pandemic affected those we serve, particularly those in culture and entertainment. I want to also recognize the great leadership that is provided in this chamber by the Honourable Speaker, and to say that she knows how to maintain the balance. So I'm going to go straight to, and of course, I must acknowledge the presence of my daughter, Paula, who is in the gallery, and to my young Rasta councillor caretaker, Chris Shackelford, who is going to take over Spanish Town, the Spanish Town division. Madam Speaker, I will tell you, I love young people. I work with young people, and I know how to plan to transfer what I have to them. Transition planning is important in politics, and youth is important to the future of this country. I push them hard, Madam Speaker, but they are equal to the task. I will go directly now and speak to areas of that fall under my point. They're all laughing. They hide from me at night. Everybody slips out of the office. Nobody says good night. So, Madam Speaker, we awarded grants of $60,000 to individuals and grants ranging from $200,000 to $1.5 million to registered small companies and umbrella organizations within the entertainment, culture, and creative industries from a special $90 million support package that I got from the Minister of Finance. And I want to thank the Minister for providing this special allocation. And so today I'm happy to report that as of May 18, 2022, we paid out $61,920,000 to 1,032 individuals and $26,900,000 to 73 organizations for a grand total of $88,220,000. Unfortunately, a number of payments to individuals and organizations failed for various reasons. Our team has reached out to see how we can assist to correct the errors. If we are able to resolve every error, we would pay out, in the end, $91,400,000 under this support program that would be, Madam Speaker, in addition to payment to more than 700 persons in the entertainment, culture, and creative industries through the Ministry of Finance care package, as well as through special grants and sponsorships from the ministry itself, the Ministry of Culture. Our assistance was designed to help fan the flames for practitioners who were unable to earn because of the pandemic, and also to reignite the activities and events to propel our recovery. In this regard, we provided $25.9 million in grant funding to cultural communities, which included the Maroon communities. We provided $15 million in sponsorship of entertainment events and activities. We provided $26.4 million in grants to the gender sector. Additionally, we disbursed approximately $24 million to 87 Olympians and Paralympians as they prepared for the Tokyo Games. We provided $12 million direct funding to the National Senior and Junior Athletics Championships and a discount of $13.5 million to the Jamaica Athletics Administrative Association for use of the facilities at the National Stadium for development needs. Madam Speaker, we provided special assistance to the Jamaica Premier League in the amount of $6.5 million in direct funding to the clubs. We provided $196 million in financial support to National Sports Federation to reignite their development programs. So, Madam Speaker, the government of Jamaica, through my ministry, provided $406,294,000 in grants to our sectors, which also included assistance to retired and active athletes and sports personnel in the amount of $11 million from the Welfare Fund through the Sports Development Foundation. So, Madam Speaker, we put our money where our mouth is. We make sure that we give support to our sectors. And I really want to thank the Prime Minister and the Minister of Finance. They always respond when we call, and it shows that we are a caring government. But, Madam Speaker, I'm still not satisfied. I want to build a program of support in partnership with the Ministry of Labour and Social Security for sports, culture, and entertainment practitioners who fall on hard times. I will also be engaging the Administrator General and the Minister of Justice to see how we can establish a trust fund similar to what we have done for the Coral Gardens, the survivors of the Coral Gardens incident. And I am engaging in discussion with the Ministry of Social Security to get funds to top up the $20 million that I've identified to provide funds for these persons who have served Jamaica and who are now having difficulty just making ends meet. And to this end, I've established a committee led by the Honorable Mike Fennell. And on that committee also sits the Minister of State in the Ministry of Health, an Olympian, Gillette Cuthbert, to be on that committee to assist in developing this fund. Further details will be announced at the launch of the fund, Madam Speaker. The Jamaica Athletes Insurance Plan, and I'm also pleased to report that we have improved the insurance plan. We have awarded a new contract for the provision of group health to include maternity, group life, and personal accident insurance coverage to allied insurance brokers for the period February 1, 2022 to January 31, 2025 in the amount of $38 million. Coverage for the group health and group life portfolios will be provided by Sectoral Jamaica Limited, while Lloyd's Syndicate of London will provide group personal accident insurance coverage. Among the improved benefits are consultation from $2,000 to $3,500, prescription from $28,000 to $32,000, plus major medical. Athletes are now able to access unlimited psychological, psychiatric services, as well as dietitian, podiatrist, chiropractor, massage therapy, athletic therapy, and speech therapy. Madam Speaker, other benefits under this contract include hearing aid services, renal dialysis, radiotherapy and chemotherapy, artificial limbs and other prosthetics, root canal, and permanent crown. And even support for miscarriage can be accessed. Additionally, athletes traveling overseas are also covered up to a maximum of $100,000 US. Madam Speaker, never in the history of Jamaica this has ever been done, and this is now being done under this administration. So, Madam Speaker, one of our young athletes, Samantha Price, was injured while competing at the Penn Relays at the end of April. Samantha underwent surgery and is recovering overseas. And I'm sure the House will join me in sending best wishes for her recovery. But I'd like to indicate here that the Jamaica Athletes Insurance Plan was in place and her coverage was secure. However, the University of Pennsylvania Hospital has so far taken care of absolutely everything that had to be done for Samantha. And we will be welcoming her back home at the end of the month. I want to use the opportunity to call on sporting bodies to see that their athletes, all their athletes who play at the national and international level, are registered with the Jamaica Athletes Insurance Plan. We have provided the mechanism to cover them, and we want them to make use of it. Excellent. We continue to focus on ensuring the good mental health of our sports people. And as a follow-up to our mental health forum and our funding of a mental health and wellness course at the GC Foster College of Physical Education and Sport, we are now moving to establish a mental health toolkit for use by athletes, coaches, and other support personnel. The toolkit will be launched later this year at a conference on safeguarding children in sport. Additionally, in partnership with Fight for Peace Jamaica, we have trained 90 officers from national sports federations and government sports agency in psychological first aid. See, Madam Speaker, at times people say our athletes represent us and they do so much for Jamaica. But the country does not do enough for them. We are making sure that we do all we can for them. Madam Speaker, we are nurturing talent. We are reigniting lives and livelihoods, including infrastructure programs to nurture talent and enable people to pursue their passions. And in this regard, the Sports Development Foundation spent more than $117 million in the last financial year to provide 20 playing services in schools and communities. And we will ramp up the program for this financial year. The Institute of Sports engaged more than 1,000 young people at its grassroots summer camps in Kingston and St. Andrew and St. Catherine, St. Thomas, Manchester, Trelawney and St. James. Many members of Parliament were very supportive in this effort. InSports also conducted a talent search and recruited 35 young boys for its cricket incubator program, through which they are learning the game and reigniting the passion for cricket. The cricket incubator has shown promise, and we will now extend it through a partnership involving InSports, the Sports Development Foundation, the Ministry of Education and Youth, and the Jamaica Cricket Association. Under the partnership, students will be exposed to batting, bowling, and catching during the first 3 years of primary school. After which, leading into high school, they will focus on other techniques and playing matches. So from the very young, we are just working just to develop those skills. Through the SDF, the government will invest $15 million in 120 schools under this initiative, through which the Jamaica Cricket Association will be able to spot and nurture talent for the national program. After a 2-year absence because of the pandemic, InSports reintroduced the National Primary Schools Championships, Athletic Championships, last month. You should see the little ones already. The reignited program includes 3 regional championships, and this was never done to the extent we have done it this year. So we had 3 regions. And for the first time, we introduced a national junior boys and girls champs. So from now on, you're going to have just the same excitement you have with the ISA, boys and girls champs, same excitement with the junior boys and girls champs. Madam Speaker, my heart just swelled with pride when you see those youngsters. We're going to do a documentary, and it will be shown on television and on social media. Those kids, they're so motivated. So what we are doing, we're ensuring the incubator and the nursery is well developed, the talent is identified at an early stage. We're making sure that every child has a pair of running shoes, spikes, they have gears, and from an early age, we instill this pride in them, which will be an inspiration for their great performance. So if you think we were doing great with the Usain Bolts and the Shelley and Fraser Price, can you imagine what will come out of this nursery? But Madam Speaker, it doesn't end there. InSports is also expanding its summer camp this year with the introduction of ice hockey in collaboration with the Jamaica Ice Hockey Federation. Ice hockey, because we have been doing well in the Winter Olympics. We have been doing very well. So we're starting again from the young ones. The current program, the current summer program, has seen the recent introduction of chess and golf and surfing to inner city youths. Madam Speaker, there is nothing beyond our reach, our scope, and we are ensuring that our young people get exposed from an early age. I'm going to now move on, Madam Speaker, speaking about our adolescent mothers. One of the best ways to reignite lives and livelihoods is to provide hope for a better tomorrow, and to enable adolescent mothers to get their lives back on track. We all know that when a teenager becomes pregnant, her life changes in significant ways, and she can feel like her life is over. But we continue to help adolescent mothers to get back on track through completing their education and giving them the tools to become good mothers. And I must tell you, Madam Speaker, we're also working on the baby fathers. We want them to become good fathers, and also to make sure that their life is put on a good path. We can't just think about the mothers. We also have to think about our boys. Last year, we opened a new $36 million training and daycare facility in Santa Cruz, in St. Elizabeth, where adolescent mothers will be able to rejoin the formal school system and complete their studies. Madam Speaker, I was joined by Member of Parliament Delroy Slowly, and he certainly have made some commitment to help us to ensure that that facility is fully furnished, and he will keep an eye on things. I want to thank you. We also opened a new nursery at the Mandeville Center in Manchester to provide a safe space for the babies while their mothers attend classes. On that occasion, I was joined by Member of Parliament Rhoda Moy Crawford, and she has also committed to ensure that the centre is fully equipped, and she'll keep an eye on things for me there. And we have 18 centres, Madam Speaker, across the island, and I will be reaching out to the Members of Parliament and seek their support and their partnership in ensuring these centres function to their maximum. Moving on to gender-based violence, Madam Speaker, our program of reigniting lives and livelihoods also includes supporting women to leave violent relationships and to rebuild their lives. Last year, we opened the second government-run shelter for victims of domestic violence to escape the trap of harmful, toxic, hurtful, and violent men. We give thanks to our partners, including the European Union delegation to Jamaica, the United Nations Population Fund, UN Women, and the High Commission of Canada for helping us to establish safe spaces for women. Madam Speaker, I had an experience yesterday here at Parliament that brought tears to my eyes. I was sitting and the Marshal came to me and said, Minister, there's a lady outside, a blind lady outside, says she's here to see you. Now, you know, sometimes when people say a blind person comes to see you, people chuckle. But I responded, and eventually, when I went to this lady, would you believe, this lady, she has an 8-year-old child. She's about 23 years old. She born blind, so she was sexually molested at an early age and ended up having a child. This lady came from, I won't say if it's east or west, but an extreme end of the island. She came here last week, Thursday, to see me, and she was told Parliament meets on a Tuesday. She went back to where she came from and came from 10 o'clock yesterday morning to see me here. A little man who sell on the streets brought her, accompanied her. This blind lady is being sexually molested by 2 men where she stays, and her 8-year-old child is at risk. And she said, a little lady said to her, I hear Minister Grange on TV saying there's no excuse for abuse. Go find her, she will help you. And that's why twice she came here to get my help. She was in tears. She came with only the clothes on her back. And the little girl who was with her was sitting next to her. And throughout the entire conversation I had with this lady, the little girl was fast asleep. I said, what happened? She said she's tired because she stayed up at night with me. Since she came to Parliament last week and come back, she has not slept. Sit down outside on a stone because she's afraid to go back to the place where she was being molested. And this little girl, she says, my eyes. It brought tears to my eyes, Madam Speaker. So we did what we had to do. A statement was taken, the police came, statement was taken, and she's now in a safe place. At about 12:30 this morning, I got a message. I got a message that this lady is now in a safe place. We're going to give her clothes. We're going to take care of her. And we're going to make sure we settle her. There are many who go in the shelter, and we keep them there until we find a place for them. We are training them, and we are empowering them. Madam Speaker, I want to use this opportunity to say to the public and to say to the men who are sexually abusing our women and our children, stop it. Because not only will we put them in a safe place, but we're going to find you. Because it cannot continue. It was a very touching moment for me yesterday, Madam Speaker. So women who go to government shelters receive counseling in an environment free from violence or judgment. They also receive training to increase their economic options. And I'm pleased to announce that 55 women recently received training in strawberry production and financial literacy under a program to build resilience among survivors of gender-based violence through agriculture, which was supported by the Canadian Fund for Local Initiatives. Madam Speaker, this is yet another act towards building women's economic independence. Investing in women's economic empowerment is a significant part of the work towards achieving gender equality and eliminating violence against women and girls. We know that dependence on a man is among the many complex reasons why women find it difficult to leave a violent partner. Because they have to eat her food. And because they have to survive and eat her food, and especially they have the children. But we take the children as well, and we keep them in the shelter. Yes. And we make sure they continue their education. Yes. And so I just want to proudly say that this government has made sure that we protect our vulnerable. Domestic violence is a horrific crime which does not have to happen. The violence can end, but it requires all of us to end the violence. I look forward to the support of my colleagues in the Houses of Parliament to amend the Domestic Violence Act to give greater protection to victims and to deal effectively with perpetrators. Madam Speaker, the ministry took steps to amend the existing domestic violence legislation to reignite the protection regime for those affected by domestic violence. I want to announce that Cabinet approved the proposed amendments for drafting, and with the help of the Office of the Chief Parliamentary Counsel, a draft bill was created. As is customary, that draft bill was submitted to the Attorney General's chambers for comments. The ministry has received feedback from the chambers regarding the proposed amendments to the Domestic Violence Act. This very week, in fact, we got the letter on Monday. And we have already started crafting responses for resubmission to the chambers. Together, we are working hard to ensure that this piece of legislation, the Domestic Violence Amendment Bill, will become a reality for all Jamaicans during this legislative year. At the same time, Madam Speaker, we continue to invest in the training of first responders, including the police, justices of the peace, guidance counselors, and deans of discipline, to ensure that women and men receive the appropriate responses when they make complaints of domestic violence. And you notice I said women and men. And those men who engage in domestic violence, we are also training them. We're retraining them, reorienting them so they can become agents of change. We're also moving to establish what we call the referral pathway for victims of gender-based violence. The referral pathway is really about agencies coordinating to provide quality and essential services to victims in a timely manner. We're talking about joined-up government. right? And we will be launching the referral pathway later this month. And this will include the Ministry of Justice, the Ministry of Labor and Social Security, the Ministry of Health, the Ministry of National Security, Ministry of Education, the Ministry of Local Government and Community Development. These are what we call gateway partners. These are what we call implementing partners. And this is what we call joined up government. So last year we worked together to pass the landmark Sexual Harassment, Protection and Prevention Act 2021. This law will provide protection to women and men who endure the harmful effects of this very serious crime. So we're doing the work towards a full implementation of the legislation. The Sexual Harassment Unit, which will investigate complaints, is now being put in place. We started a recruitment for the unit and will have some officers on board as of July 1. Additionally, we have engaged a consultant, Mr. Danny Roberts, to assist with the setting up of the Sexual Harassment Tribunal and related matters. The tribunal is the body to hear and determine complaints of sexual harassment at the workplace and other institutions, and to adjudicate on complaints by a worker of the employer's failure to act on such complaints. We have already started to receive complaints, Madam Speaker, and we have been helping companies to put the necessary mechanisms in place to respond to them. So far, the Bureau of Gender Affairs has assisted 200 organizations to draft their sexual harassment workplace policies. We've also been conducting sensitization and awareness raising sessions with public and private sector organizations, NGOs, educational institutions, and other groups. This is not a simple matter, Madam Speaker. It is a serious crime. Unwanted sexual advances, requests for sexual favors, and crude sexual behaviors affect quality of life by creating an intimidating, hostile, or offensive environment. No one should endure that, Madam Speaker. So, Madam Speaker, moving on, but still addressing the matter of gender. There's been a need to establish a collaborative space for women in this Parliament, regardless of party affiliation or chamber, to foster productive dialogue on issues of women's rights and gender equality, to network and to take actions that have a positive impact on the legislature, the legislative process, and our country. I recently tabled a motion for the establishment of a collaborative space, what we call a bicameral group of women parliamentarians comprising a sessional select committee sitting jointly with a similarly established committee of the Senate. If this motion is approved, and I have no doubt it will, it would see the bicameral group of women parliamentarians becoming a fixture of every parliament in the future, a major development which supports our work to ensure that women are included in decision-making at all levels of society, and that women's issues are given appropriate focus on the national agenda. And Madam Speaker, I want to commend the women in this Parliament on both sides who have collaborated and cooperated in our discussions and in the various meetings that we have held. And I'm telling you, Madam Speaker, if there will ever be a no divide in this Parliament, it will be between the women. Parliamentary is helping to facilitate, we will set an example for the men. Right? Right, ladies? Right. Parliamentary is helping. But we are the backbone of Jamaica, Madam Speaker. There is no doubt. And we still love our men, you know. We love our men, but we have to empower ourselves. Parliamentary is helping, Madam Speaker, to facilitate a retreat with women parliamentarians this year. They will pay the cost of this retreat as we develop mechanisms to ensure that our bicameral group of women parliamentarians will have the desired positive impact. Madam Speaker, I now address our 60th. Our nation's 60th anniversary of independence is a significant milestone in the life of our country, which will be celebrated not only in the homeland, but across the world, especially in the United Kingdom, the United States, and Canada, where there are large populations of Jamaicans or people of Jamaican descent. The Prime Minister, the Minister of Tourism, and I had the privilege of participating in a few of the launch activities organized by members of the Jamaican diaspora. Everywhere there was excitement. Our diaspora population are reignited and eager to advance their proud activities, including lighting up the famous Niagara Falls in the colors of the Jamaican flag. And this will be done on Independence Day, among other impactful activities to showcase our country to the world. We have reason to celebrate a heritage that did not falter and die in the face of the most horrible treatment meted out to our ancestors. We celebrate that after colonial oppression and enslavement, we have been able to pull ourselves up by our bootstraps and create a country that has proudly taken its place among the free and democratic nations of the world. And as national hero, the Right Excellent Marcus Garvey predicted, we have created a culture that has astonished the world. We celebrate the achievements of Jamaicans in every field of endeavor. The highlight of the celebratory activities will be the establishment of the Jamaica 60 Independence Village at the National Indoor Sports Center. The Jamaica 60 Independence Village will host a week of activities beginning on July 30 and culminating on Independence Day with the Grand Gala, yes, the Grand Gala, inside the National Stadium. The Jamaica 60 Grand Gala will indeed be a grand affair, Madam Speaker. It will be a cultural celebration befitting this moment in our history. We will reach out to communities across Kingston and St. Andrew and St. Catherine to recruit performers for this exciting showcase in the National Stadium, and it will feature cultural communities representing the diversity of our motto, out of many, one people. Simultaneously, parishes will have their own activities, as all of Jamaica will be reignited with patriotism. Madam Speaker, at this point, regrettably, we will not execute the event this year without the incomparable artistic director, Trevor Nairn, who recently passed away. Trevor set a high bar for the Grand Gala, raising it higher still with each passing year. We will miss his creativity and leadership, but Trevor Nairn shared his expertise widely, and the success of the Jamaica 60 Grand Gala will count towards his legacy. I'm pleased to announce that the Jamaica 60 Grand Gala will be linked via video technology to watch parties across the Jamaican diaspora. So we will see them celebrating, and they will see us celebrating in the National Stadium. The Jamaica 60 Independence Village will feature daily activities and nightly entertainment, including the Miss Jamaica Festival Queen Coronation, Melagaround, a film night, a Jamaica Music Through the Years night, among other activities. And then there will be a night when we will be speaking to the motherland. It is with much disappointment, however, that I inform the House and the nation that the Jamaica Festival Song Competition will not be part of the Jamaica Festival package this year. The panel, which was established to select the finalists of the Jamaica Festival Song Competition, has advised that it was unable to choose 10 suitable songs from among this year's entries, despite extending the deadline. We received 123 entries, much less than previous years. Under the circumstances, the Jamaica Cultural Development Commission will be refunding all entry fees in the amount of $123,000. And I have instructed the JCDC that they must ramp up the Jamaica Festival Song workshops over the next 12 months, now that the COVID restrictions have been lifted, to ensure that the competition returns next year with much improved entries. This disappointment, Madam Speaker, comes after a period of tremendous growth of the Jamaica Festival Song Competition, which has seen finalists in each of the last 2 years, appearing on several music streaming services across the world, and for the first time, earning royalties from the JCDC. Last year, the Jamaica Festival Song album was even included on a shortlist that was considered for nomination for the Reggae Grammy. So we cannot be less than we've been in the past. And so that decision was taken. And I'm asking that those who enter should not be disappointed, but should participate in the workshops that will be held, so the entries can be much improved. There are 2 songs that were identified from all the entries. And those 2 songs will be included in a Jamaica 60 commemorative album, which will be released instead of the normal festival song album. So this Jamaica 60 commemorative album will be a mix of some of our leading reggae ambassadors and some of our emerging artists. We are fine-tuning those arrangements, and it will be announced at a later date. But what I can tell you, Madam Speaker, we will have this album ready, and we will ensure it's also nominated or put in for consideration enough, sufficient.
Madam Speaker, the member's time for speaking having expired, I beg to move that her time be extended sufficiently for winding up and conclusion. May it please you, Madam Speaker.
Question before the House is that the member's time be extended to allow her to complete her presentation. Those in favor? Aye. Those against? The ayes have it.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, and thank you, House Leader. Thank you, colleagues. You know, whenever my ministry's name is called, it's a ministry of our Minister of Culture, Gender, Entertainment, and Sport, and other things. So, Madam Speaker, you understand that there are so many other things to speak about. Yes. Yeah. So, in speaking about the album, Madam Speaker, we're hoping that this album will... I know there was a lot of disappointment when a non-Jamaican group won the Grammy, the Reggae Grammy. We're hoping that this particular album will be strong enough that it can be considered for nomination. And for all you know, we'll all be going off to the Grammys. Just to give a preview, some of the persons who have already committed to be on this album include Shaggy. It includes Marcia Griffiths, and a number of other established artists. Freddie McGregor. It is going to be a very strong album, and we are hoping that that too will reignite that spirit that we expect to be reignited for Jamaica 60. Madam Speaker, for Emancipation and Independence, we will welcome special guests from the continent of Africa. Those details will be announced at a later date. On Emancipation Day, Madam Speaker, we will see the return of the float and street parade. It will feature spectacular floats, eye-popping costume groups, and a range of exciting performing elements. We will welcome the return of the masquerade bands, the John Kuno and effigies, in honor of our national hero and our culture. I mean, I know all of us who have come up over the years, I know that you miss all that excitement, and your children have not had the privilege of seeing it. So be prepared. It will be exciting. The float and street parade will start at the Ranny Williams Entertainment Center on Hope Road and end at the National Stadium car park. But we will do this on Emancipation Day, the 1st of August, instead of on the 6th of August, because the National Stadium cannot accommodate the crowd. We always have an issue in relation to the Grand Gala. And so if we take all that crowd to the National Stadium on the 6th, when we already will have a large crowd in the National Stadium, then we'd be courting chaos. And so we will have the street and float parade on the 1st, on Emancipation Day, and the Grand Gala on the 6th, Independence Day. So we will bring the Jamaican family together in a moment of reflection on our journey as a people, in a celebration of peace, love, and unity. Of course, a traditional not to be missed Emancipation Jubilee at Seville Heritage Park on July 31st will also be a highlight. Madam Speaker, I want to use the opportunity to speak to the contribution of Taki, the 18th century leader of the first and one of the most significant wars against slavery in this country. So impactful was this war that it inspired the Haitian Revolution. At this time, I wish to recognize Brother Derrick Black X Robinson, who has been a tireless campaigner for the recognition of the contribution of Taki to Jamaica. His yearly walks across the country barefoot have not gone unnoticed. And earlier this year, my ministry petitioned the Governor General to declare Taki Day each year on April 8th, a fitting tribute during Jamaica 60 celebrations. I'm sure this will only encourage Black X to continue his promotion of Taki and his campaign that this freedom fighter be made a national hero. Madam Speaker, I also want to use the opportunity to indicate that Black X recently had surgery and is recuperating, but thought it was important to be here today for this presentation. And Madam Speaker, I must tell you that Member of Parliament, there's a certain Member of Parliament here from the parish of St. Mary, I won't call any name, who has promised Black X that he will walk with him the next time he walks. Another Member of Parliament from St. Mary, another Member of Parliament from St. Mary, Madam Speaker, has promised to take notes. He won't walk, he will take notes for the history books. I call on Jamaicans to join the Spirit of Independence campaign by decorating their spaces, business, government offices, town centers, churches, community centers, and other public spaces in the national colors. Wear the black, green, and gold with pride. Wear it bold. Show your creativity as we celebrate the greatest little island in the world. And I'm encouraging members of Parliament to join this and see that all the spaces are decorated in the Jamaican colors, which we will call the spirit of independence. Prizes will be awarded for town centers and to private sector. We will be awarding prizes for the best decorated spaces in the colors. Right. Madam Speaker, Jamaica 60 celebratory events, a number of them will be taking place, but I just want to mention a few. The Independence Service will be an interfaith service on July 31. There'll be a banquet hosted by the Honorable Prime Minister Andrew Holness and Mrs. Holness honoring 60 outstanding women on September 25th on the 27th anniversary of the landmark Beijing Declaration on Women's Rights. But not to leave our men out, another banquet will be hosted by the Most Honorable Prime Minister and Mrs. Holness honoring 60 outstanding men to take place on International Men's Day on November 19. And the Jamaica Defense Force will be staging a special parade on June 29th. There's just a lot of things, Madam Speaker, but we will be unveiling all these activities at a later date. We will also recognize and say thanks to our healthcare workers through two main activities. The first is the Prime Minister's Medal of Appreciation event to take place in September. The Prime Minister's Medal of Appreciation will be presented to nominated healthcare workers in each region. The second is the Mary Seacold Medal, a medal which is being specially struck to be presented to each healthcare worker in appreciation for all that they continue to do to take care of the nation. But Madam Speaker, Jamaica 60 is more than just patting each other on the back and accepting the congratulations of our friends. Jamaica 60 is also about serious reflection on the things that we haven't got right, the mistakes that we have made over the years, the opportunities that we have missed, and how we will do better going forward. It is also a chance to rekindle national spirit towards making Jamaica the place of choice to live, grow, raise families, and do business. I will just quickly speak to Jamaica 60 legacy projects. I must make it clear that many of the infrastructure improvements that will be announced cannot be completed in 1 year, but will be done over a period of years. Among the legacy projects are the redevelopment of the National Stadium, which will include covering the bleachers, removing the cycle track, installing more comfortable seating, an additional 10,000 seating, establishing a new stand, new concession areas, and facilities for holding meetings and conferences. A major part of the redevelopment of the National Stadium will be the establishment of the long-awaited Jamaica Sports Museum and Sports Hall of Fame.
Here, here. Here, here.
And this will be on lands across from the stadium complex on Arthurman Drive at the corner of Herb McKinley Drive. We have developed a concept and are now moving to secure financing for this important project. And I must indicate at this time that Senator Don Webby has agreed, Madam Speaker, to chair this infrastructure committee in order to move the infrastructure development program for Jamaica 60 forward. Madam Speaker, We are also reigniting the project to establish a Marcus Garvey Museum on the site of his boyhood home in St. Anne. The project was delayed as we negotiated the relocation of the family that occupied the site. And I'm now pleased to report that we have made alternative housing arrangements for the family. We have actually constructed 2 houses through the new social housing program for 2 of the sisters and their family. And we are about to finalize arrangements for the 3rd sister, who was a little hesitant to work with the program. But we are now finalizing those details with her. This development puts us in a position to revive this project, and we anticipate that construction of the Garvey Museum can begin this year under the Jamaica 60 Legacy Program. The Legacy Program will also include the construction, of course, of the new Parliament, the development of Justice Square in downtown Kingston, as well as the new Police Command Center. Am I right, Minister of National Security? The Command Center for the Police. It also includes the award of 60 scholarships from the Ministry of Culture, Gender, Entertainment and Sport. So far, we have allocated $6 million to provide scholarships to students who participated at this year's Issa Grace Kennedy Boys and Girls Champs. Madam Speaker, I come now to a recurring theme in my contribution to the sectoral debate over the last few years, and that is the strengthening of the ministries, agencies and departments to provide better service. The JCDC in the last financial year, we renovated and rebranded offices in Portland, Trelawney, St. Anne and St. James. We also relocated offices in St. Thomas and St. Mary. We have a lovely office in St. Mary now. Wonderful office with the support of the Member of Parliament. This part of the Commission's program of routine maintenance, developing properties, improving technology and reducing costs with the ultimate aim of serving the people better. In this regard, we plan to renovate the Clarendon and Manchester parish offices in this financial year while seeking to relocate parish offices in Hanover, Westmoreland, St. Catherine, Kingston and St. Andrew. Madam Speaker, we're also pursuing plans for a new home for the National Library of Jamaica. Its current location in downtown Kingston near the waterfront is not ideal and exposes a vast national collection to ruin in the event of certain natural disasters. As I speak, the National Library is being proactive by relocating some items in its irreplaceable collection that are at risk in its current space. I also wish to announce that the National Library of Jamaica has won the Alison Providence Lange Sustainability Award, which recognizes outstanding work in library sustainability. The National Library will receive the award this week at the Association of Caribbean University Research and Institutional Libraries Conference in Curacao. The award comes with a $5,000 US prize money, and we are thankful for that. Madam Speaker, for the first time in our nation's history, we have been able to send members of our local archaeology team at the Jamaica National Heritage Trust to dive and assess the remains of the sunken city of Port Royal. And this is a big deal. Before our team completed the Professional Association of Diving Instructors open water course, we always relied on overseas experts to dive and assess the sunken city. Additionally, the team at the JNHT is undergoing training in underwater archaeology thanks to the kind support of the Mexican government. We also thank the government of Japan for assisting us to conduct a heritage impact assessment, which is needed to support our nomination of Port Royal as a World Heritage Site. The JNHT, Madam Speaker, at this time is finalizing arrangements for having the cockpit country placed on the UNESCO Heritage Center's tentative list. The tentative list indicates our intention to nominate the site for inscription to the World Heritage List in the future. Now, Madam Speaker, quickly touching on the Jamaica Anti-Doping Commission. JADCO has moved its staff cadre from 19 to 29 as it has been recruiting and retaining the best talent to perform its mandate. JADCO has the duty to, among other things, direct our anti-doping in sports program, which includes the testing of athletes, the collection of samples, and the management of test results, all in keeping with international standards. Indeed, it is due to receive the ISO 9001 Quality Systems Management Certification soon, which means that JADCO has been performing satisfactorily. However, Madam Speaker, JADCO's recent action or inaction has cost the country a world record. I was there at National Stadium at the Carifta Games during Easter when the talented young athletes Serena Cole, Tina Clayton, Brianna Liston, and Tia Clayton won the under 20 by 100 meters relay in the astonishing time of 42.58 seconds. This was an impressive movement on the world record of 42.95 seconds that the Clayton sisters, Serena and Kerika, had set in August last year in Kenya. It was the first world record that I have ever witnessed on home soil. And the fact that it will not be recorded as such is truly disappointing, Madam Speaker. And I'm asking members here to just applaud the girls for their outstanding performance. Madam Speaker, neither the water rules, the JADCO rules, nor the international standards for testing and investigation say an athlete who breaks a record must be tested immediately afterwards. Must be tested immediately afterwards. However, the World Athletics Competition rules say an athlete must submit to doping control immediately after the end of the event, where the athlete has broken or equaled a world record. The rules further require that in the case of a relay world record, all members of the team must be tested. The chairman's report to me found that the failure to test one member of the relay team was because of an apparent existing best practice at JADCO not to test an athlete twice within 24 hours in competition. But the chairman also reported that checks have revealed that this best practice is not contained in the JADCO rules, neither in the international standard for testing, neither the water rules, and is not contained in any internal memorandum or document in the JADCO files. It appears that it was an instruction originating, at least, from the time of the previous executive director. The chairman's investigation also found that JADCO applied its intended practice over and above what appears to be explicit instructions from the J3s. That is to provide 6 tests per day, with testing being done on any athlete who achieves a national or world record. Madam Speaker, the unfortunate consequence is that the young athlete's world record will not be ratified by the World Athletics. As Minister, I offer my sincere apology to the young athletes affected by this unfortunate set of circumstances for which there must be consequences. Accordingly, I announce today, 1, a disciplinary subcommittee of the JADCO board is being established to take the appropriate action in this matter, and there must be sanctions. 2, compulsory training is to be done of all technical services staff on the rules of competition governing the major sporting organizations. A list of these organizations is to be agreed by the board. And 3, JADCO will review all procedures or protocols which would require an event organizer or body requesting in-competition testing to provide rules and specific instructions in relation to that organization in a timely fashion prior to the event. This situation must never recur. In recent years, Jamaica's reputation in anti-doping in sport has been excellent. They try to paint a picture, but we have an excellent record. It must be maintained. This record must be maintained and built upon. I also wish to inform that JADCO is now a part of the CONCACAF project and will increase testing of national and international footballers. Additionally, JADCO will increase testing of athletes who qualify for the various disciplines at the upcoming Athletics World Championships and the Commonwealth Games. So we're tightening up, Madam Speaker. At this time, I also wish to announce the appointment of members to the Anti-Doping Disciplinary Panel for the next 3 years, ending May 2025. The panel will be chaired by Mr. Kent Gammon, with vice chairs Ms. Georgia Gibson-Henlon and Mr. O'Neill Brown. The other members of the panel are Dr. Japheth Ford, Dr. Donovan Calder, Dr. Marjorie Vassell, Ms. Denise Forrest, Mr. Heron Dale, and Mr. Dean Martin. Madam Speaker, I'm winding down. While the House will join me in wishing all our athletes well in the upcoming Athletics World Championships and Commonwealth Games, I take a few moments as I wind up to highlight some of the extraordinary achievements over the last year. And I ask my colleagues to recognize these fantastic achievements. Elaine Thompson-Hero created history several times during this year. She won the 100 and 200 meters at the Tokyo Games to become the first woman to win the sprint double at separate Olympic Games following her outstanding performances at Rio in 2016. She won the Loris World Sportswoman of the Year award, the first Jamaican to do so, and is the fastest woman alive. Elaine, Shelley Ann Fraser-Price, and Sharika Jackson made a clean sweep of the medals in the 100 meters in Tokyo, and all helped Jamaica win gold in the 4x100 meters relay. Hansa Parchment became the Olympic sprint hurdles champion as Jamaica ended the Tokyo Games with 4 gold, 1 silver, and 4 bronze medals. Team Jamaica finished with 11 medals and a world record at the World Under-20 Championships in Kenya. We wish them well in the next Under-20 World Championships this August in Colombia. Fraser McConnell drove into history, becoming the first Jamaican to claim a supercar victory in the Rally Nordic Championship. Out of a field of 10,000, Sarah Messier was one of the top 4 Formula women drivers to earn a spot on the DTO Motorsport team that will compete in the GT Cup Championships. And just this weekend in Sweden, Madam Speaker, young Alex Powell became the first Jamaican and first person from the Caribbean to win an FIE karting race. Alex Powell is the grandson of the late E.K. Powell and the cousin to Asafa Powell. And of course, Madam Speaker, Rear Admiral Antoinette Wims Gorman became the first woman to be appointed Chief of Staff of the Jamaica Defense Force, joining a list of our country's most celebrated women who are called barrier breakers. So, Madam Speaker, I just want to pause as I go directly to my conclusion to express my condolences to the families of the 4 men of the 3 men who were killed as a result of the shooting of 4 men, and 3 died from my constituency. I just want to express my condolences to them. I know they're watching, the families, and I just want them to know that I'm asking the entire Jamaica to pray for them and to give them strength in their moment of grief. So, Madam Speaker, upon Jamaica attaining independence in 1962, the Right Excellent Sir Alexander Bustamante, national hero and the first Prime Minister, said these words, and I quote, "I speak with humility, fully conscious of the opportunities of service that are mine. But I speak also with pride and courage because I have faith in my people, and I know that you all will respond to the challenge of this new era on which we now enter, and to the difficult task and heavy responsibilities ahead of us. Independence means the opportunity for us to frame our own destiny and the need for us to rely on ourselves in doing so. Out of many, one people we have chosen as our motto, and very true it is. All of us should be proud of the example of racial harmony which we have set for the rest of the world. We have come a long way together. As a sovereign people, we shall make new friends and new alliances. But we shall never forget our friends, nor shall we forget the lessons that they have taught us. Come then, let us, thanking Almighty God for this great day, go forward together into the future with faith, courage, and dedication. Let us resolve always to help those less fortunate among us. Let us resolve to work together under the law, to build a Jamaica which will last and of which we and the generations to follow may be proud. Remembering that, especially at this time, the eyes of the world are upon us. Madam Speaker, it has been a long, hard road in spite of many challenges. We have remained a resilient people. But some of us have lost a bit of our faith, courage, and dedication towards building Jamaica. The mission, my mission, the mission of my ministry, and the mission of this government is to reignite the passion, creativity, and indomitable spirit of the Jamaican people to renew faith, courage, and dedication, as stated by the Right Excellent Alexander Bustamante. Our intention in the rallying cry to reignite is to re-engineer and reconfigure national infrastructure in the core areas of culture, entertainment, and sport, in recognition of the globally acclaimed mantra that culture is foundational to the achievement of sustainable development and prosperity. This government intends to reignite social and economic development in our country by furthering the culture, entertainment, and sport economy, among other things, and promoting the kind of national community in which our most vulnerable, our women and girls, live in a stable, violence-free society through harmonious relationships. This, Madam Speaker, we will do by reigniting Jamaicans in a renewed spirit to work diligently and creatively, think generously and honestly, in a deliberate effort to achieve sustainable development for all. As I stand here, Madam Speaker, and I close my presentation, I know that I speak for all my colleagues here, that we are dedicated and loyal and equal to the task. Let us go reignited towards a great future for Jamaica. with renewed faith, courage, and dedication. Let's reignite our nation for greatness. May God continue to bless us all and bless Jamaica. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Yeah, Madam Speaker, I'm sure that this House has been treated to one of the finest performances, I think, from our most outstanding and long-serving Minister of Culture, Gender, Entertainment and Sport. Madam Speaker, if you recall, I decided not to close today simply because I wanted to do justice in my closing to the contributions made by the newly minted Minister of Legal Affairs and Constitutional Affairs yesterday, and what a wonderful presentation it was. And certainly today, this outstanding performance by our Minister of Culture, Gender, Entertainment and Sports. So, Madam Speaker, I beg to move that we suspend the sectoral debate to Tuesday next, the 14th of June, when I will close the debate at 2 p.m. Close the debate at 2 p.m. May it please you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you, House Leader. And just before I put the question for the close of the debate, the close of the sectoral debate for this evening, to suspend the sectoral debate, I just want to add my own words to the fact that not only was this the finest or an outstanding performance, as House Leader said, by the Minister, but I just want to say, when she made reference to assisting the young lady to who came to Parliament yesterday, I can attest, and I know there are several people who can attest, this is par for the course for this minister, because I myself have had a situation that cropped up very similar and worse, and within half an hour of calling this minister, she never told me she was going to make it happen. I had action, and one of our Jamaicans was saved and helped. So it's not just performance. I want to say it is par for the course, and we congratulate her and thank her for responding to that. The question now before the House is that the sectoral debate be suspended until next week, Tuesday, the 14th of June. Those in favor? Those against? The ayes have it. House Leader.
Madam Speaker, I beg to move for the recommittal of the items indicated earlier, which were so suspended to allow for the sectoral debate to continue.
Members, the question before the House is that we have recommittal of the items stated on the agenda, which was suspended to facilitate the Minister's presentation. Those in favor? Those against? The ayes have it. So we move to the agenda. Statements by ministers. Announcements.
Laid on the table of the House today are the following: Ministry Paper number 39 of 2022, an annual report of the Agro-Investment Corporation for the year 2018, 2019. The National Housing Trust, Housing Benefits, Special Selection, Windcrest Hills Housing Development Order 2022, and the National Housing Trust, Housing Benefits, Special Selection, Twickenham Glades Housing Development Order 2022.
Bills brought from the Senate, petitions, papers, reports from committees, notices of motions given orally.
Madam Speaker, I beg to move for the suspension of the standing orders to enable me to take the motion, notice of which I gave earlier, with regards, Madam Speaker, firstly to the National Housing Trust housing benefit special selection for the Windcrest Hills Housing Development Order 2022, and secondly, Madam Speaker, for the National Housing Trust benefits special selection for the Twickenham Glades Housing Development Order. Madam Speaker, you will notice that these are routine orders. May it please you, Madam Speaker.
No, Madam Speaker, to the House Leader, motion for the.
Madam Speaker, in concluding the motion, Madam Speaker, I'd just like to indicate some more details on it. That be it resolved that the National Housing Trust benefits special selection Twickenham Park Glades Order 2022 under the National Housing Trust Act, which was laid on the table of the House on the 8th day of June 2021, be referred to the Regulations Committee of the House of Representatives for consideration and report. And the further detail with regards to the second resolution, Madam Speaker, is that be it resolved that the National Housing Trust Housing Benefits Special Selection, the Windcrest Housing Development Order 2022, under the National Housing Trust Act, which was laid on the table of the House on the 8th day of June 2021, be referred to the Regulations Committee of the House of Representatives for consideration and report. Madam Speaker, I further beg to give notice that at a later stage today, I will move for the suspension of the standing orders to enable me to take these motions.
Questions and answers to questions. Motions that may be made at the commencement of public business requiring notice. Motions relating to sittings of the House, motions for leave to introduce bills, presentation of bills without leave of the House first obtained. Minister Shaw.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, I now move to introduce and have read a first time a bill shortly entitled Transport Authority Amendment Act 2022.
A bill shortly entitled the Transport Authority Amendment Act 2022, read a first time.
Madam Speaker, I beg to give notice of second reading of the bill.
That's it. Public business.
Madam Speaker, I beg to move for the suspension of standing orders to enable me to take the motions, notice of which I gave earlier.
The question before the House is that the standing orders be suspended to allow the Minister to take the motion, notice of which was given earlier. Those in favour? Those against? The ayes have it.
Madam Speaker, the motions we gave with regards to the benefits are routine motions which wouldn't necessarily require a debate. It is an understanding that these are benefits which the National Housing Trust confer based on selections of categories of individuals. And if you notice that in the two instances, they were related primarily to beneficiaries in the area of youth, members of the Nursing Association, members of the Teachers Association, members of the trade union, and members of the Jamaica Civil Service, members of the Defense Force, and members of the Jamaica Constabulary Force. Primarily, these are usually, categories selected to enable benefits within certain housing development in the area. And in this instance, Madam Speaker, it's the Winderest Hills housing development and also the Twickenham Glades housing. May it please you, Madam Speaker.
Question, therefore, before the House is that the motion, notice of which the Minister gave earlier, be approved. Those in favour? Those against? The ayes have it. Motion is approved.
Madam Speaker, it's not intended to do any further business for the day. I therefore invite you to adjourn this Honourable House until Tuesday, June 14th at 2 p.m. at the George William Gordon House. May it please you, Madam Speaker.
Is that the question before the members is that the House to adjourn until next week, Tuesday, the 14th of June at 2 p.m. And may I remind those of us who are here to remind other members of Parliament that this Parliament will start at 2 o'clock. And if you come when the roll call is done, we still do not have a quorum, so we would like to be here so that we start at 2 o'clock. Those in favour? Those against? The ayes have it. This House is now adjourned.